He's been in communication with Spirit Guide since he was 3 years old when his guardian angel saved his life for the first time. When he was in his teens, Spirit told Reverend David that he would become a healer, and when he was getting his first spiritual healing certificate in his 30s, Spirit said he would become a minister. Reverend David completed prophecy by being ordained at the Center of Enlightenment in October of 2017. He is also certified as a Reiki Master in 1999 and a medium in 2016. Reverend David has been attending the Center of Enlightenment since May of 2015. He is currently serving as the president of the COE Board of Directors, and he is a very valuable asset to this place. He does way more than we could ever ask, and we appreciate every bit he does. So please welcome Reverend David Shaw to the platform.
Thank you, Reverend Keith. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have to say, Reverend Keith set the bar a little high in the welcoming and then with his inspirational reading, so I hope I can match what he's already done. I'd like to talk to you today about Spiritualist Principle 8. We affirm that the door to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. Principle 8 was adopted by the National Spiritualist Association of Churches in 1909 and was revised in 2001. Since I'm on camera, I'm going to take that off so I look better.
I was about to say something.
Yeah. I don't have to look at me. You do. The NSAC has a children's version of the principles, and number 8 is paraphrased as, "Every day is a new beginning." So every day we get a fresh start on what we do with our lives. That makes sense to me. Joseph P. Whitwell, the third president of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, interpreted Spiritual Principle 8 to mean, "We discard entirely the terrible, wrong, and illogical teachings of eternal damnation, and in place thereof we accept and present for consideration of thinking people the thought of the continuity of life beyond the change called death. A natural life where the opportunity for growth and progress to better, higher, and more spiritual conditions are open to all, even as they are here on the earth plane of life. We accept no such teaching as a hellfire, but we do teach that sin and wrongdoing will necessarily bring remorse and suffering that would be difficult to describe in words, and which can only be relieved by the individual's own efforts, if not here, then in the hereafter. If we make our own lives better while here, and that of our neighbors happier, we shall unfold that happiness or heaven on earth, which we shall carry with us into the spirit world." Honestly, I like the children's paraphrasing better. For me, the most important word in Principle 8 is reformation. At dictionary.com, they define reformation as the action or process of reforming an institution or practice. For our purposes, the practice would be the actions that we take each day. At vocabulary.com, they have a longer definition. Reformation means making changes in something with the intention of setting it back on the right path. They also say that reformation is a noun implying improvement in the existing form or condition of institutions or practices intended to make a striking change for the better in social, political, or religious affairs. Change for the better or improvement are always in the eye of the beholder, which means that we are making an ethical choice. That will come up later in my talk, but first I have to say that Principle 8 reminds me a lot of the concept called karma. Karma is defined as a force generated by a person's actions which perpetuate transmigration, rebirth, and uses the ethical consequences of a person's actions to determine the nature of their next existence. So actions generate karma, which have the opportunity to be reformed in this life or the next. Now, one difference between karma and Principle 8 is that karma presumes we are reincarnated, born over and over and over again until we master enlightenment. The National Spiritualist Association of Churches doesn't support the concept of reincarnation because they don't know how to prove it. And 1/3 of spiritualism is the science of providing evidence of what we espouse. I personally do believe in reincarnation and have done many past life regressions. So I will continue my explanation why karma is included in my understanding of Principle 8. Karma refers to the spiritual principle of cause and effect, which is one of our natural laws, wherein the intent and actions of an individual, the cause, influence the future of that individual, the effect. Good intent and good deeds contribute to good karma and happier rebirths, while bad intent and bad deeds contribute to bad karma and bad rebirths. The philosophy of karma is closely associated with the idea of rebirth in many schools of Indian religions, particularly Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, as well as the Chinese religions of Taoism and Falun Gong, and the Japanese religion of Shinto. In these schools, karma is the present affects one's future in the current life, as well as the nature and quality of future lives. This idea is also commonly implemented in Western popular culture, in which the events which happen after a person's actions may be considered consequences of natural law. There is difficulty in providing one clear definition of karma because each of the religions have differences in how they interpret the ways actions affect karma. The diversity of views among schools of Hinduism is comparable to different views in denominations of Christianity. For example, some Hindus consider karma and rebirth linked and simultaneously essential, while others consider karma to be essential but not rebirth. A common theme to theories of karma is its principle of causality. This relationship between karma and causality is a central idea in all schools of Hindu, Buddhist, and Jainist thought. One of the earliest associations of karma to causality occurs in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, a sacred text of Hinduism. At 4.4.5 and 6, it states, "Now, as a man is like this or like that, according as he acts, and according as he behaves, so will he be. A man of good acts will become good, a man of bad acts, bad. He becomes pure by pure deeds, and bad by bad deeds." And here they say is that a person consists of desires, and as is his desire, so is his will. And as is his will, so is his deed. And whatever deed he does, that he will reap. Now that was written in the 7th century BCE, more than 600 years before the life of Jesus. Something to consider. One theory of karma as causation holds that emotionally invested or intentional acts contribute to karma and affect the individual in the life he or she leads. Disinterested or unintentional acts do not have the same positive or negative karmic effect. In Buddhism, for example, actions that performed or originate without any bad intent, such as scratching yourself when you itch, are considered non-existent in karmic impact or neutral in influence on the individual. Drinking this water, on the other hand, to prevent me from coughing, that does have a karmic effect. Another causality characteristic shared by several religions is that like deeds lead to like effects. Thus, good karma produces good effect on the actor, while bad karma produces bad effect. This effect may be material, moral, or emotional. That is, one's karma affects both one's happiness and unhappiness. Now, I just have to say, Principle 8 builds on Principle 7 because we create our own happiness or unhappiness, and that happiness is what gets us the reformation and enlightenment. The effect of karma need not be immediate. It can show up later in one's current life, and in some schools, it extends to future lives. A second theme common to karma theories is ethicization. This begins with the premise that every action has a consequence, which will come to fruition in either this life or a future life. This is where we get into the ethics. Thus, morally good acts will have positive consequences, whereas morally bad acts will produce negative results. An individual's present situation is hereby explained by reference to actions in his present or in previous lifetimes. Karma is not itself reward and punishment, but it is the law that produces those consequences. A third common theme of karma is the concept of reincarnation or the cycle of rebirths. Rebirth is a fundamental concept of most Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Rebirth is a concept that all life forms go through a cycle of reincarnation, that is, a series of births and rebirths. The rebirths and consequent life may be in different realms, conditions, or forms, by which they mean the realm could be land, sea, or air. The conditions could be you were born healthy or you were born disabled, and whether you're born as an animal or as a human. The karma theory suggests that the realm, condition, and form depend on the quality and quantity of karma. In schools that believe in rebirth, every living being's soul transmigrates or recycles after death, carrying the seeds of karmic impulses from the life just completed into another life and lifetimes of karmas. This cycle continues indefinitely, except for those who consciously break this cycle by reaching moksha or enlightenment. Those who break the cycle reach the realm of gods. Those who don't go back into the recycling mode. This concept has been intensely debated in the ancient literature of India, with different schools of Indian religions considering the relevance of rebirth as either essential, secondary, or unnecessary fiction. The theory of karma and rebirth raises numerous questions, such as how, when, and why did the cycle start in the first place? What is the relative karmic merit of one action versus another, and why? And what evidence is there that rebirth actually happens? Maybe those National Spiritual Association of Churches people have the right idea. Who knows? My experience is it's true. Various schools of Hinduism realized these difficulties and debated the questions, some reaching what they considered to be internally consistent theories, while other schools modified and de-emphasized rebirth. And a few schools in Hinduism abandoned the theory entirely. Schools of Buddhism consider the karma rebirth cycle as integral to their theories of soteriology, or the study of religious salvation, which is a new field to me that I'm going to have to research because I like that concept. Principle 8 is based in the study of religious salvation, but that is a topic for another sermon. So what about non-Eastern religions and karma? Christianity teaches morals such as one reaps what one sows, that's Galatians 6:7, and live by the sword, die by the sword, Matthew 26:52. There's a concept in Judaism called Mida Neged Mida, which literally translates to value against value, and that carries the same connotation as the English phrase measure for measure. The concept is not used so much in the matters of law, but rather in matters of ethics, i.e., how a person's actions change the world will eventually come back to that person in ways one might not necessarily expect. Donating to the church and other charities and doing good deeds, random acts of kindness, is that kind of concept that you do these great things and God knows they're great, so then you get rewarded. And it's not the reward that you're necessarily expecting. The idea of karma was popularized in the Western world in the 1800s through the work of the Theosophical Society. In this conception, karma was a precursor to the neo-pagan law of return, or the threefold law, the idea that the beneficial or harmful acts one has on the world will return to oneself. Colloquially, this may be summed up as what goes around comes around. Theosophist I.K. Tammany wrote, "Karma is nothing but the law of cause and effect operating in the realm of human life and bringing about adjustments between an individual and other individuals whom he has affected by his thoughts, emotions, and actions." Theosophy also teaches that when humans reincarnate, they come back as humans only, not as animals or other organisms. I'm not sure how I think about that theory either, whether we can be anything from a cockroach to a whale or something in between like a human, or if we're only humans. I do put whales ahead of humans. They're more evolved than us, just to let you know. Finally, popular musicians have written songs about the law of cause and effect, otherwise known as karma. My favorite, Todd Rundgren, wrote 2 songs for his band Utopia. One is called Another Life and is about past lives. It's 7 minutes and 25 seconds long, so we can't play it in a service. The second is called The Wheel, which is about karma and is also more than 7 minutes long, but I think I snuck that one in one time anyway. For those who want to hear them, I will post them on my personal Facebook page later today, and you can also find them on YouTube. Another song about karma is by the band Funkadelic, and it is called Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts. Again, it is too long to play during services, but I will also post it. This one is more than 12 minutes long, but it is worth it, especially the looping guitar melodies. I just love that. It's slow and plodding and thoughtful. It's like a meditation. One of my favorite lyrics, there aren't that many, but one of my favorite lyrics is, "Good thoughts bring forth good fruit. Bull bleep thoughts rot your meat." Thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention.